and gentlemen, thank you very much. I honestly believe that the county commissioners tangle these things up so that just to mess me up anyway. So I'm sorry that it's taken just a little bit of time here. Welcome everyone to the meeting of the Gastonia City Council, August the 20th, 2013. I would at this time like to ask for Councilman Todd Pearsall to have our prayer, after which we will stand and pledge of allegiance to the flag.
Thank you, Mayor. If you'll bow your heads. Father, we come to you today to ask for your wisdom and guidance as we conduct business for the citizens of Gastonia. We ask you to place your hand on those that are in the Midwest dealing with the forest fires, keep them safe, keep the responders safe. We ask you to place your hand on those that keep us safe overseas, our troops, the men and women that fight for our freedoms that we enjoy here at home. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. I forgot at the beginning, in my haste to get started, to welcome everyone that's here and also those that are watching on the Time Warner Channel 16 tonight. I would at this time like to have item C, adoption of the agenda, please.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. All in favor? Item D is approval of the minutes of July the 16th, 2013. Is there approval of these minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, item E is awards, ceremonies, and promotions, and we have 5 of those. Mr. Gallagher, Councilman Gallagher, will present these. The first one is a proclamation recognizing a fellow named Mr. David Hoyle.
Senator Hoyle, would you mind coming forward, please? Thank you for coming, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for this.
And
Honored and appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor would like to also be here as well, since you both served together in the State House.
We did. He got me in a lot of trouble, too.
Nice. We'd like to honor you, sir, for all your years of service here and for Gaston County and for our town. And I'm going to read this proclamation for you.
Thank you.
Retired Senator David Hoyle was born in Gaston County and was elected as state senator to represent Gaston County in 1992 and was re-elected 8 more terms. That's 16 years, people. And served in leadership roles on numerous committees during his tenure as senator. And Senator Hoyle was appointed by Governor Bev Perdue in October 2010 to serve as Secretary of Revenue, serving until January of this year. And whereas Senator Hoyle has been cited for his commitment to keeping government meetings and records open to the public, he supported a 1994 rewrite of the North Carolina Open Meetings Act that narrowed the list of reasons for holding closed session behind closed doors, which is really nice. You want to have an open government so everyone knows what's going on. Senator Hoyle was ranked among the top 3 most effective state senators by North Carolina Center for Public Policy and Research, and ranked number 1 by North Carolina Free for a record 16 consecutive years of supporting business and jobs. That means his entire tenure as a state senator. His most notable item is right here. US 321 was named Highway David W. Hoyle Highway in honor of his efforts to develop the US 321 as a multi-lane highway. When I came here 20 years ago, people, I was traveling up to Hickory, and I was going through all the back roads in Marion and Maiden and getting to know all the back. I'll tell you, that 321 is one of the most terrific roads that we have access here for our town to get up to Route 40, and it's amazing. It cuts down so much time, sir. And I know I have more to read, but I just want to applaud you on that and just say thank you very much, sir. Really.
I could write a book about that, and I won't take the time today, but it was not easy. I lost my job when I was in high school. They tore down Vernon Hopkins Esso, it was called Esso then, service station, said we're going to build a highway to Hickory. Well, when Jim Hunt appointed me in '77 to the Highway Commission, I said, I think I better check on the status of that road. We're not going to build that road now. We're going to build 16 up to Lucian. Long story short, I said, no. Back in those days, the Highway Commission had a lot of power. They don't have much anymore. But I said, no, we're going to build that road, and we're going to build it now. So that's the story behind it, and that's the truth. And so anyway.
Let me go on here. Whereas Senator Hoyle also served as the mayor of the town of Dallas and the former chairman of the Gaston County Democratic Party. And whereas Senator Hoyle has received numerous awards and honors, including the Gaston Chamber of Commerce Spirit of the Economy Award, the inaugural Friend of Freedom Award given by Freedom Communications, and the North Carolina Press Associates William C. Lassiter First Amendment Award, the General Charles Dick Medal of Merit Award by the National Guard Association of the United States in 2007, and in 2013 he was presented the Lifetime Achievement Award by North Carolina Automobile Dealership Association to recognize those who embodied the true spirit of successful entrepreneurs and civic leaders. And whereas Senator Hoyle has been active in his church community by serving on numerous boards and committees, he is married to Linda Summy Hoyle, and they have 2 children. One of them, son's here, David. If you'd like to come up, you're welcome to it. And 3 grandchildren, so they're probably the apple of his eye. Whereas Senator Hoyle retired from public service this year in 2003 to his home in Dallas, North Carolina. Now, therefore, I, John Bridgman, as mayor of the city of Gastonia and the city council of the city of Gastonia, congratulate Senator Hoyle for his accomplishments and thank him for his many years of service and all of North Carolina. In witness thereto, I hereto set my hand to cause the seal of the city of Gastonia to affix this 20th day of August in the year of our Lord 2013. Mayor John D. Bridgman. And Senator Hoyle, thank you very much for all
Thank
you've
you,
done.
Councilman. I appreciate it.
Before you get this, Senator, you're going to have to hear me say a word or two. I was coming down the David Hoyle Highway this morning, and I was thinking about tonight and this proclamation, and I thought, 35, 40 years ago, I bought dozens and dozens and dozens of some in modular homes from you. I even paid some of them on time. I did. And then, of course, we were mayor, you were mayor, and then, of course, I thought about, we served together in the legislature, served in the same district. But when Nan and I got our tax bill from the state, knowing the Secretary of Revenue, there was no discount. There was nothing on there. It was all the same. But anyway, seriously, thank you for everything you've done. This is well deserved. I've seen you in action. Thank you very much, sir, for everything that you've done. And I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you. Just 1 minute. I won't be long. I know you've got. Anyway, don't ever give a politician a microphone and buckle up, folks. No, I'm going to be very brief. I just want to thank all of you all for this great honor. I'm humbled and very, very appreciative of this recognition. And I would just say to you all, through the years, I had the opportunity to work with the city folks. I was of the opinion that municipal governments and city governments are partners with the department, the General Assembly. And we work together. I get a phone call from Ash about once every 2 or 3, well, maybe weeks, I don't know. There's 3,000 bills introduced, as the mayor can tell you, nobody can read them all. I mean, you just forget about it. So, but I knew anything important, somebody was going to read it, going to give me a call. I read I read all the bills that I had to vote on. But Ash would call me and he'd have some problem, and we kept it between the ditches pretty much, I think, Ash.
Yes, sir.
We had a fright at one time about 8-10 years ago when the federal government was mandating electric deregulation, electricity generation. And I was chair of that committee in the Senate, and I knew it would have a devastating effect if it passed the federal government. If it passed the federal government, the state was going to be mandated to piggyback it and get it done. And I kept trying to figure out all these savings that were going to come. Whose hide was it going to come out of? So I hired consultants, and John, Mayor can tell you, and Ralph, you don't want to vote on something you have a study on. You put it off for a while. And we waited just long enough for California to go headlong into deregulation, and they had an unadulterated mess. And it all went away, and we got saved that. But I represented 5 electric cities, more than anybody else. So I had to pay particular attention to what was going on and to make sure that your best interest was served. And I think we did that. But we kept things between the ditches. I was privileged to serve as finance chair for 15 years. And we dealt with all the tax bills. Well, when the governor appointed me to go to revenue, I had to go over there and administer the laws, the tax laws. And I found out pretty quick that I wasn't quite as smart, we weren't quite as smart in the General Assembly as we thought we were. We messed up some of the laws pretty bad. And we get them fixed, we get around, but we didn't do as good a job as we could have done. But we muddled through it, but I guess that was a highlight, to have served in the General Assembly, to make the laws and then have the opportunity to administer them. And what I did when I got to revenue, I told my people, we had a staff meeting, I said, listen, we got a tough job. Nobody likes a tax collector. I hate to say that. I mean, nobody's in love with a tax collector. But I said, what we're going to do, we're going to have 3 tenets. We're going to be fair, we're going to be firm, and we're going to be compassionate when it's called for. And when we get a call from a citizen, we're going to have an attitude adjustment here. And we're either going to have an attitude adjustment by the employees at the department, or I was going to have some personnel adjustments. And the main thing is, when folks call, they were going to be treated with dignity and given every opportunity to state their case, and the Department of Revenue was not always right. Neither was the General Assembly. But with all that said, I just want to, again, thank you all so much. My grandson's birthday is tomorrow, and he's working, so Dave and I and his mother are going to take him to dinner in a little while, so we're not going to stay for the agenda, if that's okay. But Dave's going out of town in the morning, and I've got to leave town too. So anyway, that would be the reason for our departure, not because we're not appreciative of what all you've done. And I can't begin to tell you all how much this means to me and how much I appreciate it. So anyway, and I want to thank you all for your service. The closer elected people are to the people, the more difficult the job gets. And I can tell you, I mean, I think maybe the school board may be the worst, the toughest. But, you know, it falls down the line, county commissions, city councils, etc. But I know when I was mayor of Dallas, and this was 45 years ago, I was just a kid, the policeman, chief, no disrespect, would lock up the town drunk about once every 2 months. Good guy, but he just about once every 2 months, he'd get too much, go downtown, and you know, and they give him one phone call. Well, he called the mayor. He didn't call Bill Bonner to get him out. So finally I said, Chief, next time you get him, take him home. It'll save me from having to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go get him out of jail. But anyway, I do appreciate your service, and I think Gaston County and Gastonia is blessed. North Carolina is blessed, and we've got good government. I know things get screwed up here now along the way. People mess things up from time to time. But we're blessed in this state and in this county. And I thank you for your service, and Godspeed. Appreciate it.
I would like to make one comment, if I could, please. I just want to thank you personally, Senator Hoyle, for being such an advocate for many, 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 many years for small business, not only in Gastonia and Gaston County, but across the state of North Carolina. Without your advocacy, I'm not sure that we would have the small businesses that have come into the city of Gastonia and Gaston County without your help in getting them here and working with them and working with our EDC. And so I certainly appreciate all the work that you've done for us.
I thank you. Thank you so much.
They want to shake your hand as you go.
Okay, I will. Absolutely. Can I do that
Thank you, dear. Take care.
I hope you continue to enjoy what you do. I hope you continue to
Oh, yeah.
enjoy what you do.
David. Thank you. Number 2 is a plaque presentation to Mrs. Ina Biggers in recognition of her service on the Gastonia Planning Commission from 2008-2013. Mr. Kimball?
Thank you, Your Honor. As was just mentioned, community service serves as the backbone of all that we enjoy here within our community and communities around the country. Yet many of these commissions operate silently. They go through, they hear reams of information, they make critical decisions, and city councils, mayors rely on them tremendously. Yet many times they don't get a television screen, they don't get their name on a podium, but yet they selflessly serve weeks, months, going through reams of information and making the right decisions that are reflective of our community. And also we have times when they move on for a variety of reasons. And tonight we have a number of folks that are moving on from their positions in both the Planning Commission and also the Historic District Commission. And we want to take a moment to thank each one of these people and also to give them a little token. And I say little because it nowhere near comes to the amount of time and effort they've put into these committees. But we'd like to start off with Miss Ina Biggers from the Planning Commission between 2008 and 2013. Ma'am, could you come up? We have a little something for you. The inscription is as follows: Ina Biggers, in appreciation for your service to the City of Gastonia as a Gastonia Planning Commissioner, years 2008 to 2013. Ma'am, thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
You are. Can you say a couple words, please?
Thank you very much to Mayor Bridgman and the City Council assembled, to Mr. Todd Pearsall, who is my representative. I would like to thank you very much for this award. And this is the first time that I have ever been on a committee or served, and I had to stop before my time was finished. But family is very important now. We have 5 grandchildren, and they look for Nana to be there for everything. So I had to step down. I will miss it. I've learned an awful lot, and I hope in the future that I will be able to serve in some other capacity, because I really enjoy being a part of government. And I have my husband with me, Jim. I often tease him and I tell him, I am following the footsteps of your mother, because she was very active in the community and she did a lot of community things. And I feel honored to know that I am following in her footsteps, and I hope that I will continue to follow and do a good job. And I also need to mention that it was Mr. Walker Reed, who was the city councilman at the time, that asked me to be a part of the Planning Commission. And I would like to thank him for that vote of confidence. And I thank all of you for the time that you serve and the great job that you do. And I pray that all will continue to go well with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you once again, ma'am. The second plaque, again, is someone that we're recognizing from the Gastonia Planning Commission, serving from year 2010 to 2013, Mr. William Gross. And again, we want to thank you for your service, sir, and we have a plaque to commemorate that service and all that you've given to the city. Thank you, sir. Once again, to Mr. William Gross, in appreciation for your service to the city of Gastonia as a Gastonia Planning Commissioner, years 2010 to 2013. Thank you, sir. Some comments?
Thank you. I'll be brief. I appreciate the privilege and the honor of serving our city, and I thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. We know that the city of Gastonia is a city, more than most, that's steeped in history. And we have in our city an onerous task of moving forward to preserve that history in a way that generations ahead will understand what our forefathers did and what the city was built on many years ago. Some of that daunting task falls upon our Historic District Commission, and we have a couple members that are going to be moving on from that commission. Our first, Mr. David Buchanan, and we have also a plaque for you, sir, in recognition of your service between the years 2010 to 2013. Thank you. The plaque reads, Mr. David Buchanan, in appreciation for your service to the city of Gastonia as a Historic District Commissioner, years 2010 to 2013. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate the opportunity to serve the Historic District. As I grew up in Gastonia, and as a child, I went to Central School, which most of you probably remember that. And as a child, I would remember riding through the neighborhood and seeing these grand old houses, but they were run down. This was in the early '80s. A lot of them were run down, and so I moved away from Gastonia to Charlotte when I was in my 20s, and had the opportunity to move back and buy an old house in the neighborhood. And I was very, very pleased to see the progress that had been made with the houses, and took a personal interest in obviously getting to serve on the Historic District Commission. Gave me opportunity to get to know people in the neighborhood, and hopefully not make too many enemies. But we do appreciate having a historic district and being able to keep the standards and hopefully maintain a nice neighborhood, and for Gastonia, and something we can be proud of. So I do appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Once again, we reflect back on the Historic District Commission and the service of Mr. James Henson since 2007 to 2013. And I'd like to call you up at this time, sir. I have a plaque for you.
Councilman,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Henson's not here tonight. He couldn't be with us, but I'm sure he'll gladly accept the plaque, and he lives down the street from me, so I'll take it with me.
Okay, you're going to have to sign for that. But
All right.
Again, the plaque reads, Mr. James Henson, in appreciation for your service to the City of Gastonia as a Historic District Commissioner from the years 2007 to the years 2013. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. The number one proclamation, we need to go back and officially approve that, if I can have a motion.
So
Mr.
moved.
Hall. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay. That's the awards and ceremonies presentation. Item F is public expression. Each person is limited to a total of 5 minutes speaking time. One which we'll save, that's on item 5. But the first one on here is Mr. Danny Reese. If you'd step forward, please, and I'll give you, while he's coming forward, I can tell you that his address is 1601 Plantation Trail. Mr. Reese.
Hope everybody's doing good tonight. I just appreciate the opportunity to come. I'm a longtime resident of Gaston County, born and raised in Cramerton, and moved to Gastonia in 1981, and love my city. I really do. We've got a rental property business here that we've had some issues over the past several years with some of our property, and I know some of you guys probably are aware of that. We've got a good code enforcement department. I'm not against the code, believe me, I'm not. I'm not against the building of property and things like that, but I just have a real concern about an issue where we would allow, as citizens and as a council, for a piece of property that is vacant. Yes, it does need to get up to code standard before somebody comes lives in it, but there's no criminal activity. There's no prostitution or drug activity or anything of that nature, because I've called the police department and got a report out on that. But I've got a piece of property that I was told that, you've got 90 days, or we're going to start the proceedings to demolish. It doesn't register with me as a citizen why you would even consider tearing a piece of property down that's the taxes are being paid on, the grass is kept cut, and all that. My situation personally is, don't have the funds right now to repair. We are repairing property. I can take you to other pieces of property that we've got. We're repairing those properties and getting them up, making the tax base higher. We plan to do that with this particular piece of property. We cannot do it in 90 days. It just can't be done. Now, the question I have, the concern I have is code enforcement. If you went into that area, which is Ransom Street, that area over there, and you went into every house over there to find out the code violations based on what is on the books, you'd tear down half the houses over there. That does not register, I'm sorry. That does not register with me as a citizen. That's my concern. It's not particularly my piece of property either. It's everybody's. Everybody that's a citizen of Gastonia. So I asked the council to reconsider, what they're doing there, and put in some kind of a program that says, hey, you're not going to be able to rent it. You are going to be required to keep the grass cut and things like that. If there is problem with law enforcement having to go over there, but I was told by Tim Pilkington, I hope I pronounced his name right, he told me, he said, Danny, your piece of property is one of the best we've got as far as the law having to go over there, police coming over there. So I want you to reconsider any kind of action you take on any piece of property, and maybe set it up as, no way a tenant could go in there, but give people an opportunity to repair. And, hey, to me as a citizen, I can ride around and show you houses that's been boarded up 5 or 6 years. Houses that are, the windows are broke out of it. And I brought up to one of the councilmen, Arlington School sitting over there. It's got glass broke out in it. It's been sitting there. I know that's a county property, but it's still in the city. So there's sort of different regulations for different people. So just consider that for me, if you will, please. Okay? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. And Mr. Bunn, I would ask that you maybe check into that a little bit and let's discuss it some more. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Munn, this isn't the first time we've had this type of request where the exterior of a home, which I have not seen this property, but I have spoken to Mr. Reese on the phone. The exterior of the home, I would categorize it as no problems. From the street, looks presentable, the grass is cut. Interior-wise, it's not habitable. I get that. But especially, and this is in my ward, especially in my ward in some of these older neighborhoods, we have homes that exterior-wise are horrible. The grass never gets cut. Looks like the home's falling down. Those are the homes that bring down the neighborhood, bring down the values. If this home looks presentable from the street, the grass and yard is maintained, that is not bringing down the value of the neighborhood. Now, I don't disagree that if it's not up to code, someone should not be allowed to move in there. But is there not something the city can do as opposed to going after them for interior code violations and threatening to tear down the house? Can we not just issue something that says your certificate of occupancy, is going to be revoked and you have to apply for a new one when you've brought the interior of the house up to code? I mean, do we have to go after? I understand if it's a blight to the neighborhood. It's better to have a vacant lot than a house that's fallen in and deteriorating. But when the house looks nice from the street and the yard looks nice from the street, why are we talking about tearing it down? I mean, like this gentleman said, he's not even going to let anybody move in there. He doesn't think it's ready. So why are we so concerned about the interior, and is there not something we can do on the city level to change our policy or ordinance regarding this? And I know I'm putting you on the spot, but maybe that's something we can look into.
Well, Mr. Pearsall, I would agree with you. And over the years, we have worked with properties, and especially if they maintain, I have not looked at this property, but if they maintain the exterior of their property and there are no apparent code violations from the street, and it's not adversely affecting the surrounding properties, the city normally works with the property owner to give them time to take care of the interior, because just as you said, as long as no one is occupying it, and as long as all the windows, there's no broken windows, the property's being maintained, there's really no reason for the city in that situation to pursue an action. So we'll take a look at this situation and other situations that fall in that category, but I would agree with you. And I know in the past we have worked with property owners that are in that particular situation.
I would think it would lessen the workload of code enforcement too, if they're not having to go out every couple months to look at interiors that no one's even living in.
The only time when it starts to, sometimes properties seesaw back and forth, and that's where you start getting, that it was okay for a while, and then you go back, and then 30 days later you're back at it again, and you get into that kind of a situation. But we'll take a look at this gentleman's property, and we will meet with our code folks and see if we can't work with him.
Thank you. Thank you.
I did see the property. I walked around it. The grass is cut, the taxes are paid, and I don't know how intrusive government should be to tell someone, you have to do this and you have to do that. I understand that there's minimum code enforcements, but he sounds like he wants to get it done. It's just that right now he's got other rental properties that he's dealing with, and getting money from the banks isn't the easiest thing to do at this time. So if we could do something, it would be nice.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bunn, in the course of this, could we see if we could get some type of a schedule from this gentleman on what your perceptions might be to bring this up, if you have them, or you could work with the city on them, sir, to see if we could get some realized goals or milestones down the road of when you're going to get that done? Okay. Thank you, sir. Understand. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wayne.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Next on the list of the sign-up sheet is, it's an honor to introduce Kim Jones. And business address is 405 Cox Road, better known as the Longhorn Steakhouse. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, hello, everybody. I didn't realize I was going to be on TV when I came by. I was just coming to the city meeting just to invite everybody to come out and see us. We're opening up August 26th on Monday. And I just wanted to stop by and meet everybody, give you an invitation for our friends and family on Friday and Saturday night. I opened this restaurant in 1991 here in Gastonia, May 5th. And when it burnt down, it was a very sad day. It affected a lot of people in the community, and I am so thankful and so blessed to be back. I just can't wait to see all my friends and family again and to serve you as you serve us. All right? That's all I came to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here.
Your Honor.
Yes,
thank you. Ma'am, I understand also, I had some friends that unfortunately were working at your establishment at the time of your fire, and it's my understanding that your company really stood by those employees in getting them or offering them other employment at other stores in trying to keep your valued employees kind of in the hopper for when you did rebuild. And I just want to say thank you for continuing that investment in the folks that worked for you. Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Your Honor.
Okay, next on the list is it Giannetti? Oh, well, you just come up and give us your name and address, please, sir. Home address, and I appreciate it. It's Gionet, right? Yes. All right, sir.
My name is Gary Giannetti. I live in Gaston City and would prefer to keep my personal address private from the public, if that's all right. Is that okay?
Is it? Okay.
And how should we contact you to follow up on your concern?
I have, in fact, sent Dave Curlin, who is representative of the ward I live in, an email with a full testimony of what my issue is. I recognize that I only have 5 minutes to talk about it, so it's very short and cut down. But I have emailed Mr. Curlin a full testimony of what issue that I'm having and what I've tried to do to amicably resolve it.
Sure. Just be cognizant that your email is a public record. Okay? Please continue with your 5 minutes.
Thank you. Okay. Well, my wife and I have run headlong into an ordinance that unfortunately is extremely devastating to us, and we absolutely believe that it very much infringes upon our civil liberties. This began with an ordinance that is enforced through I guess a complaint-based system, as I'm informed, and I jacked up one of my cars in my own driveway because I experienced a vehicle breakdown and decided to exercise my right to self-fix this vehicle. I was visited by a code enforcement officer and told that I needed to, or that I was in violation of an ordinance that does in fact require vehicles to be, quote, operable. He used the word operable. Self-propelled in a manner which it was intended. And obviously the vehicle was broken down and couldn't be self-propelled in the manner that it was intended, and the vehicle was tagged and labeled as a junk motor vehicle, and I was threatened that the vehicle would then be taken from me in a matter of 7 days. To be a citizen who in this economy has experienced downtime from work, my wife has experienced downtime from work, we don't have a lot of money, but these vehicles are whole, they're daily driven, they're registered, insured, inspected, legal. They don't represent themselves as junk vehicles at all. But I needed to fix this vehicle. And what happened was a repair that was necessary to put the car up on jack stands and to repair it from the bottom. And there were circumstances where I needed to pull the engine and transmission apart, support them separately with jacks. I had to pull the part in order to identify the part, to order the part. So by the time I ordered the part, after I disassembled the car, some time had gone by, I ordered the part came in bad. The parts manager told me, this part is so manufactured, I'm going to order a heavy duty one, I'm going to price match it, I'm going to ship it, I'm going to do everything for you. So now I've ordered the part twice, and I've waited twice, and I've received the part finally, and that absorbed 2 weeks. First week of January, rain, cats and dogs. You know, it took another several days to almost a full week to be able to get that part put in the car. It was 3 weeks, okay? The car was stuck on jack stands because of the circumstances of having to support the engine and transmission separately, et cetera, et cetera. All the details are in my testimony. The idea that I could experience a vehicle breakdown, knowing that if I sent it to a mechanic, it would be $1,000, $1,200, and being versed in very technical automotive things all my life, I knew I could fix this myself, and we're talking about a flywheel, flex plate, and a starter that was $100, okay? And the obvious choice is to fix it myself. The questions are, you know, do I have the civil liberties and the constitutional rights to self-fix my vehicle in my own driveway, on my own property, when we're talking about a whole, registered, inspected, very legal vehicle, without being threatened that that vehicle be taken from me? And I believe the obvious answer to that is yes. I mean, all I did was exercise my right to, you know, live and my liberty to choose. This issue is very long, very deep. They tagged.
I have to interrupt you, sir, because it's time for that, but I think a little bit you questions with the attorney. Go ahead. Wind it up, please.
Okay, they tagged $45,000 worth of vehicles, including a $14,000 2005 Chevrolet GMC for no other reason than it had not a battery in it. This is also a registered vehicle, legal. I lost the battery and simply exercise my right to choose not to keep a battery in it, because if I'm going to drive it, I'm going to pull the battery from my pickup truck and drop it in this truck and drive away. But they tagged and called a $14,000 2005 Chevrolet Savannah in pristine condition, a junk vehicle, and threatened to take it from me. And the total damage and amount would have been taken if circumstances had slightly aligned different. And I go into that in my long testimony that they could have caused me $54,000 worth of hardships and losses. And that was devastating to me, to think that all my vehicles are legal, yet, you know, that this could even happen, and that the ordinance could be written in a way where that was acceptable.
Thank you very much. I'll have to stop you now, but because of the time.
I understand.
And the rules.
I understand.
Thank you, sir.
I just would hope that someone could look into this and, rectify the damage that this ordinance could cause me and anyone else.
All right. Thank you. You said we had a copy of Dr. Curlin did, I think.
I am willing to send a copy to everyone unless, Mr. Curlin, you want to forward that email to everyone.
Yeah, I'll be happy to forward that. And also, I guess it's public record that, Mr. Gianna, I believe, had an appeal hearing with the city. And
Yes, sir.
I believe that's also public record, too. So, I think we can pass this information along to you, and you can review it. And if it prompts questions, then I'm sure, council has the opportunity to review the ordinance, review the circumstances, and act upon it accordingly.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay. Next on the sign-up sheet is Mr. Ben Brackett, 1209 Oakwood Avenue. Ben? While Mr. Brackett's coming up here, let me say very quickly that admit to the fact that, and I think a lot of it might have to do with old age, but if I'm moving around, I may have to stand. I may have to just walk out because of some back spasms late this afternoon. So I had a hard time even getting up the side of the driveway here. So that's why I'm moving around so much. It's not that I don't like it. Ben, go ahead, sir.
I know the feeling. I was out of work because of that today, but I felt the necessity to come up here and address you folks. My name is Ben Brackett. I live 1209 Oakwood Avenue in Gastonia. And the reason I'm here tonight is I read an article, I don't know, yesterday or the day before, paper. I believe they quoted Walter in it about the cost of the speed humps and whatnot. I never realized they were that expensive, okay? Now, as far as political, I don't know that they're that political. We requested some to be put in the neighborhood. We had two put in over on the side street. It went into where, trying to think of the name of the business that was there. It's a chemical company. But at any rate, all that did was divert traffic off of McCarver over through right down our street, right over to 321, and they're coming through there fast. If any of you have any questions or any doubt in your mind about that, you can talk to Jamie Henson, used to be on the Historic District Commission. We almost had to get in front of a car last week to slow it down. His children, my grandchildren, are out in the yard playing, okay? I can understand why they would be so expensive because they're, 4 or 5 feet wide, 6 feet wide? Couldn't we tear them up to 24 inches? I mean, we're just talking about asphalt. That was my only question. I understand that the situation from the tax money standpoint, Because I'm for saving every tax dollar we can save, but there's times when these things are a necessity. I also read an article this afternoon where a lady was complaining because she had one in front of her house. Well, you can put one in my driveway if you like. You can split my driveway. You know, I could care less. I just need to slow the vehicles down, you know. And that's all I got to say, gentlemen. I appreciate your perseverance and attention. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Brackett. Okay, that's all on the public expression that I have on the consent agenda. Is there